dive in, our readers would love to get to know you a little bit better. Can you tell us a bit about your backstory and how you ended up where you are?
Well, my name is Gregory Stone, and I am an attorney at Fisher Stone. But one thing that I want everyone to know is that I'm an entrepreneur first. When I was younger, I started a business at 18, selling cell phone accessories, iPhone accessories in a kiosk. And then I went to college and decided to start my own magazine where we were selling advertising and things like that. And afterwards, I decided to go to law school, so I sold the shares to my company, and the rest is history.
I'm a huge fan of mentorship through one's career. None of us are able to achieve success without some help along the way. Who has been your biggest mentor? What were some of those valuable lessons you may have learned from them?
Well, one of my biggest influencers was my aunt. She started a company years ago, probably 15 years at this point, and she risked so much to build her company to where it's at today. And she was always somebody that I was able to talk to for advice, and she's the one that pushed me in the direction of law school because she thought this would be the best avenue for me to help others.
What made you start your own practice? Can you tell us a story of how you started it?
So we started the practice while I was in law school, and my business partner Lawrence Fisher was getting out of law school, and we knew that we wanted to go into business together, and we knew that if we went to work for other attorneys, they would instill bad habits into us. So we decided to create a law firm where those billing practices, those bad habits weren't actually instilled in us. And so I knew that we were going to start this firm day one of law school.
Can you share the most interesting story that happened to you since you began your career?
So one thing that was actually a lot of fun that I like, why I like dealing with entrepreneurs is because they are spontaneous. And so we were in the process of selling my client's business, and we did. And at the closing, we started talking, and I opened up a celebratory bottle of scotch. One drink led to another, and we ended up going to Miami for the weekend after we closed on his business deal. So that was definitely a night to remember, to say the least.
Okay, because this is a helping profession, some healthcare professionals really struggle with the monetization side of the business. How do you address the business aspect of running a practice?
So one thing professionals need to really know is that you may be the best in your industry, but if no one knows that you're the best, you happen to help the least amount of people. So one thing that individuals need to realize is that the business side of your practice is extremely important, and self-promotion is the best way for other individuals to know your capabilities. So if you want to help the most amount of people, then you have an obligation to the community to tell the most amount of people.
Managing being a provider and a business owner is a constant balancing act. How do you manage both roles?
Honestly, it is extremely difficult, but it really comes down to prioritizing the tasks at hand. And one thing that I do every single day is I write down, I make lists of my tasks for the day, and I start checking off one by one, and I try to create blocks of time where I will only focus on legal work and then have a hard cutoff and start focusing on developing the business.
From completing your degree to opening a practice and becoming a business owner, your path was most likely challenging. Can you share a story about one of your greatest struggles? Can you share what you did to overcome it?
I think most professionals face in general is you can come out of school and you got all this theory in your head, and whether you have a medical practice, you need to get patients or clients or whatever, and that's the only way that you learn. The scariest thing that I had to overcome was coming in feeling like an imposter, giving the right advice, and consistently just learning on my clients.
Here's the main question of our interview. What are the 5 things you need to know to create a thriving practice, and why?
5 things that you need to know to start a practice is you need the proper foundation, which means forming the right entity for your practice. Either choosing to do a PLLC or a PC, which would be a corporation, and connecting with the right insurance companies to do so. Number 2, you want to have the right contracts and waivers in place, so when patients come your way, they'll be able to fill out the form, sign the documents, and are ready to actually come and work with you. Number 3, you need great employee relationships. So anyone that you hire, you want to make sure that you have the right agreements in place, so that way the relationship will be dictated very openly, where they know their vacation days, they know all the details of their agreement. 4 is marketing and sales. Obviously, you have a great practice, now you need other people to know that your practice is good, and you need to be able to tell the world what you do. And 5, you need great bedside manners. Having the relationship with the patients and making sure that they trust you and you can actually communicate with them is extremely important, and make sure that you are being comfortable with all of your patients.
As a business owner, you spend most of your time working in your practice, seeing clients. When and how do you shift to working on your practice? Marketing, upgrading systems, growing your practice. How much time do you spend on the business element side of things?
So when I first started, it was obviously 80 focusing on the business and 20 focusing on the clients, because I didn't have that many clients. And as the firm started growing, it seemed to shift more and more to focusing on the clients, where it became 80-20 the other way. And so what I started doing was creating hard lines of when I have to stop focusing on the legal side of things, unless it's an emergency, where I focus on legal for the beginning of the day, and then focus on the business development side towards the end of the day. And I make sure that I create the lists of the clients and the business tasks that I have for the day, and I try to prioritize.
I understand that the healthcare industry has unique stresses and hazards that other industries don't have.
Mm-hmm.
What specific practices would you recommend to healthcare leaders to improve their physical or mental wellness?
So, I mean, overall, systems and contracts is probably the most important thing to do in your practice, especially as a medical professional. Having patients come in and signing disclaimers, signing waivers will definitely help you sleep better at night to prevent potential litigation. But as far as mental health, take a break, schedule a break every single day in your practice, because if you're not there to operate and you're stressed out, you're actually going to produce less than if you just skip an entire hour or 2 just focusing on yourself.
Can you please give us your favorite life lesson quote? Can you share a story about how that was relevant in your own life?
So this might not be my favorite life lesson quote, but it was just said today, so I'm just going to bring it up. The best time to plant a tree is yesterday. The next best time is today. So basically, we always look back and say, oh man, I wish I should have done this, or I wish I should have done that. And essentially, me and my partner, we wanted to start a practice area years ago, and we keep talking about it, and keep saying, man, if we did this 5 years ago, we would be in a different place. And now we are finally bringing it to fruition, and we are not kicking ourselves in the butt over it, and just looking forward that as long as we start today, a few years from now, we will grow this area as far as we can.
How can our readers further follow your work online?
So your readers can follow us on all social at Fisher Stone Law. My personal handle is @gregstone.esq. And of course, they can visit us on fisherstonelaw.com, and they can schedule a call, or they can read our blogs and more information on how to start a practice and what documents they might need for their practice.
Thank you for these great insights. We wish you continued success and good health.